I'm in New York City and I'm just heading in to interview Gabrielle Bernstein. Come on in with me. Hi, I'm Kate from Conscious Divas and I'm here with Gabrielle Bernstein. She's the author of An Aim Guide to Happiness, a life coach, and the founder of HerFuture.com, an inspirational social network for women. It's so great to be here with you, Gabrielle.
It's wonderful to have you here in my country. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. You know, your work really inspires me a lot, and I think the thing that stands out the most that I want you to share is just what really inspired you to kind of start this journey and then inspired you to write a book? Because some of the people will be familiar with your book and others maybe not.
Yeah. Everything that inspired me was through my own self-reflective journey, through my own spiritual journey, and having to see the dark side to come back to the light. And that's really what everything I write about is, all of the tools that I have applied to myself. And at the age of 25, I really hit a bottom. It was a bit of a quarter-life crisis, and I had to look inward for that guidance. And through meditation and metaphysics and through studying A Course in Miracles, I really transformed my thinking, and as a result have come back to a really beautiful place of happiness and inner peace. And now what my work is to do is translate those tools that I apply to myself for my generation, and really make the language applicable to them.
Yeah, and that's what I definitely feel, is that you're really speaking to those women who are younger and maybe they don't necessarily resonate as much with the older teachers, maybe some of the teaching, but it's not necessarily applying to the life they're living today. A common thing I find is that women want to embark on this journey, but they find it a little bit scary, or they feel like it's not a part of, they don't know how to incorporate it into a part of their whole life. It feels very compartmentalized, or they can't really put it into, they don't want to mix the two. They feel that it's very separate.
Yeah, well, I teach people that it can't be a spiritual part of your life. It has to become your spiritual life, and recognizing that there's spirit in everything, and cooking a meal and going to the gym and walking your dog. And when we turn into that and we really recognize that, we begin to see it everywhere. So I think if it is something that's frightening to somebody and it's a new path for them, all they need to do is be willing. That's the slightest willingness, they'll receive all the guidance they need to take the next right action and strengthen their journey inward.
Okay, and then what would you say then for you in embracing that spiritual life and seeing it sort of manifest in all different areas of your life? What would you say changed when you were able to embrace that?
Everything. My relationships enhanced tremendously. My life began to flow. My fears subsided completely. Anxiety was gone. I feel physically better. I have more energy. I have creative flow throughout my life. And I genuinely feel that the universe has my back. I genuinely feel that I don't need to push and scream and manipulate things to get something to happen. I can allow things to flow naturally and take aligned action, not fearful action. So when I do make a request or put in a proposal or submit something or promote something, I know that whoever needs to receive that information will get it.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on aligned action?
Yeah, so what a lot of us think we need to do is just go out and get it, right? Go out and grab it, make it happen. And that's a very, also particularly in my country, it's a very American attitude. And especially here on the East Coast in New York City, which is, let's go out and grab it mentality. It's a very action-based mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that, but when that action isn't aligned with a belief system that can back it up, if you're like, I'm going to go make money, but you don't believe you can make money, then there's a disconnect there. And it won't be properly enhanced, and the spirit energy can't support that action. And so it's all about really making sure that your belief system is connected with the actions. And so that's what the alignment is. And so when we get our mind transferred back to a place of believing in miracles and believing in quantum physics and believing in the positive flow of energy, and that our thoughts inform our experiences, and we know these kinds of concepts to be true, we can then have aligned action.
That's a really good way of explaining it. It also reminds me though, when we think of I believe in the universal principles like the law of attraction, and some of the things I heard people say when they read the book The The Secret or different things like that, is that they felt like they tried some of the strategies and it doesn't work. And so what would you say to those people?
The reason that those tools don't work is because they don't believe. They're not in aligned action.
Okay.
So you can say, I want a red car all you want, you can put up all the pictures, and maybe the red car does show up, but you won't be able to keep it.
Right.
Or you'll struggle to get there. So it's not about it's also not about getting, it's about being, it's about feeling. And when we feel connected to our desire, and our desire is connected to something greater, which could most likely hopefully be of service to someone or something else, then that alignment can flow naturally and things can come to you. So when we get into that thinking of how can I get, there's more negativity and more anxiety behind it, and that really blocks people from receiving.
You're not driving from the right place. You're coming from that more fearful. And so what would you say is one of the tools that you use either on a daily basis or that you found most powerful in allowing yourself to get more in line with your values and your beliefs, so that you're really going after the things you want versus that person has a nice shiny car and so I want it too?
Yeah. Well, really maintaining the service mentality and remembering that the work and the life that I live, it's not about me, that it's about really being able to serve others, whether it's in my own home, in my relationships, and my friendships, or even just on the street. And for instance, I was talking to someone today that was a tele-perk person, trying to get my rug to be picked up or whatever. And she's like, I don't have an answer for you. And I was like, why not? I started to get into it with her, and then immediately I just pulled it back in and said, okay, this is not the way I want to function. So being conscious of that energy, conscious of how you treat people regularly, and am I serving someone with love or am I serving them with negativity? And at least even when I do screw up, forgiving myself. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness is a big part of the practice as well. So learning to practice the principles of forgiveness towards yourself and towards others is probably one of the most significant tools in the book.
Yeah.
and most spiritual philosophies is the way to go.
And your book really, I guess the feeling for me is I almost took your book as sort of like a workbook. So like each chapter you could go through and just read the whole book, but there's these exercises that really cover all the different areas. And I know forgiveness the first one?
It's actually the second one.
The second one, okay. And so do you want to share a little bit about the equation that you use that you feel is powerful for people?
So a lot of my own journey was about mental and physical reconditioning combining meditation. So I brought those 3 steps into every chapter. So that's the Ing equation, which is rethinking, moving, and receiving. And those steps combined for 30 days equals changing. So I combine those 3 steps in a way that they're relevant to each chapter's message, and they change them up each time. And it's a simple 3 tools to get people to get to work. So to your point, it's exactly that. It's a really powerful workbook that someone could do in a year if they wanted to. They could do chapters 1 through 12 once a month for the whole year and really see some major transformation.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was one day, I took the trampoline. My girlfriend has a trampoline. I don't have the little, but she has a big one. And I was like, I really want to try and apply this. So every time I'd go to her place, I would start jumping on the trampoline. And it's amazing too, the interconnection, like the playfulness that I actually find, because I can find myself to be a little bit more on the masculine, serious.
Yep.
And so that was a really neat experience to just see how it can allow you to just drop in and connect.
Exactly. Yeah.
I guess the other question I'd have is just for women who are maybe not so confident. I wouldn't say they're not necessarily confident, but the other thing I often hear women asking is like they feel like it's a journey they want to embark on, but they're not sure how it will fit into their life in terms of their friends. Like they feel like people think, oh, what's that? Or they're judged by it, or it's really hard for them to step out of that.
Yeah, that's why I created herfuture.com, which was just a home community for anyone that's interested in this conversation and this type of work, whether it be self-reflective work or wellness work or green juice or even entrepreneurship, but anything that's going to really help serve yourself. And it's a community for women to go and have that connection. And so if you don't have those connections in your immediate community, in your friendships or family, you can turn to Her Future to make those relationships. And we have a Canadian Power Posse, so there's lots of ladies that connect on that. And there's all different kinds of groups that are relevant to what your interests are. And I believe that's a really great remedy to that issue of not being able to connect to your friends.
And what about the existing friends you have? It's just a natural flow?
Well, I like to use the 12-step mentality of attraction, not promotion. So if you start to change, they pick up on it and they're like, I want what you got, I gotta do what you do.
Yeah, I gotta have a piece of that energy,
that's
right?
So how do you do that? And that's when they get interested and then they start to show up for it.
Right. And so today, I know you've been on this journey for a while. What are the things you still use on a daily basis to help yourself sort of shift? Maybe you have a scenario like you did today was on the phone, but just different things that come up. What are the tools you would use?
Well, I have a meditation practice, which for a year ago I may have sat for an hour a day, where today I can sit for 3 minutes and be connected. It's like it's not that I sort of feel as though I'm in a meditative state throughout the day, and when I'm out of balance, I connect back in. So that's a big part of it. Speaking to my inner guides, so it's talking to my ing and saying, hey, show me what you got today, tell me where to go, what to do, who to see, and really turning it over and releasing my day. So prayer is a big part of it. Physical activity is a major part of my work. And I talk to people that they don't have to be in the gym every single day to be physical. So for instance, today if I don't get to the gym, I'll go for a walk, or I will do some Pilates, or I'll stretch. But I'll do something to move my body physically and allow my body to flow. So it doesn't have to be literally hardcore in the gym every single day.
Right.
And most importantly, I really make a conscious effort to keep my thoughts clear.
Right, and so that kind of is the thing that I would say too, is that from what you said, over time, like you might have to be a little bit more strict with your routine in the beginning, like meditating for a longer period of time, or being strict with maybe moving your body, different things like that. But over time, when you become more aware of your thoughts, and you can just like take those moments out in your day, they can help have the same impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a refreshing thing for people to know who are just embarking on the journey, so they're not like overwhelmed by the idea that I have to commit so much time every single day to be like this, and that'll become more natural and easier.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It was such a great opportunity to be here with you.
Yeah.
And if you would like to get in touch with Gabrielle and her book and more of the work she does over lectures, she has a site called addingmoreing.com, which we'll be posting at the end of the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.